In today's video, I'm going to talk about booking your first photography job, some of the best practices I recommend, but also more than anything, I'm going to frame this video as a bit of a pep talk because I know going into your first job, you probably need it. But first, if you're liking this content, please like, subscribe, click the bell icon. It will help me out quite a bit. So booking your first job, the first thing I just want to say is make sure you leave really early. I always double the amount of time that Google will say it will take to get there. Unless we're talking about really far jobs, which maybe are 2 hours away or an hour away, then I don't double it because that would be crazy to leave like 2 hours earlier than, to leave 4 hours before for a job that's 2 hours away. But I would probably leave like at least 2.5 hours early, probably 3. The thing is, if you leave early, worst case, like, you never know what's going to happen. You might get a ticket, you might get pulled over. You never want to run that risk. You want to kind of accommodate for that possibility. But also, worst case, you get there really early. You can go and grab a coffee. You can look at YouTube videos. You can watch my videos. Or you can do what I like to do, and that is I kind of just center myself. I do a little bit of a meditation. I remind myself how grateful I am to be doing what I love. I think about what I hope to accomplish on this particular job if there's something new I'm trying out. But mostly I'm just getting my brain present and being excited to be there. If you are happy to be there and you love what you do, you're going to capture people in more flattering light. If you're resentful for whatever reason, and that could be a possibility, maybe the client was difficult, talked down to you, negotiated your price down and you said yes and maybe you shouldn't have, and you're resentful of it, well, that will be reflected in your work. It really will. So I think it's really important to get the right mindset. Now, the good and bad news is that all the preparation you could or couldn't have done is done. Like, whatever your knowledge is going into it is what you've got. And so being in your head and like, it's not going to help. And I've talked about this analogy before. If you're studying for a test, when you're taking the test, there's nothing you can do at that point. You're as prepared as you're going to be, so you might as well have the right attitude and mindset going into it. But if you're really anxious and beating up yourself about not being prepared enough for the test, you're going to do even worse. So that's really important to remember. Let me just check my notes really quick. Oh, so attire. New photographers, you might not know what to wear. So personally, like, I've developed a sense for it where I just kind of know. I rarely ask, but when in doubt, I will ask, like, what is the attire? But I feel like I've just developed a sense where I know what to wear in the city I live in, like in the way the events are described. I typically just know. But when in doubt, I really recommend you ask. Now, once in a while, a client will be like, no, super casual, and you show up and everyone's dressed up. That happens. So if you are going into a job and you're not sure, just err on the side of caution and overdress rather than underdress. Now, I will tell you my own journey was very different where I used to always overdress, and I'm not trying to counter my own advice I just gave, but I have relaxed it a bit. I'm never underdressed, but I don't think it's the end of the world to wear a nice dressy shirt, nice jeans, dark jeans, black jeans, and wearing Converse. I think it's totally okay, and that's one thing I've kind of loosened up on. If you're going to be working, and you do need to be comfortable. Now, if we're talking about a gala, that kind of thing, you got to do your part. You got to dress up for it. But as far as like other events, it's not that big of a deal. If everyone's wearing business suits at a convention, you probably would be okay just wearing like business casual kind of attire. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're still nervous, like, that's normal. I was too. I never was nervous when I would second shoot when I started out, but for sure my initial jobs, like on my own, shooting weddings for the first time on my own, was really stressful. I remember my very first job, I brought a friend who didn't even know anything about photography. I'm like, well, you're supposed to have a second shooter, and I just wanted like to have a buddy there, I think. And I'm like, if he gets shots I miss, great, you know? But that's really normal. You're going to develop more confidence the more you do this. And if you still haven't after a long period of time, it is possible that this isn't for you. You know, like this job suits my personality extremely well in many ways. I deal with the anxiety of not having control by abandoning control, by not caring and just being present. And I thrive in it. I thrive in those environments in which I just like, I've done everything I can to prepare for this, and now I have to let go and I just document what's in front of me, and it's wonderful. And time flies too. Early on in my career, when I was in my head more, God, man, a wedding just felt like it was 5 days long. Now, I kind of just say whether a job is an hour or 10 hours, I'm just always focused on the shooting, so the time flies. I hope this was helpful. It is tough. You're starting out. That's to be expected. If they hired you and they know your level, they know your level, and so you don't need to be too hard on yourself. You are your worst critic, and remember that. Your client isn't going to be as vicious on your images as you are. Get out of your head. When you're in the edit stage, this happens to me. Sometimes there's work where I think there's a quality of work I always maintain, but some jobs are better than others, mostly because I had better variables, better lighting, etc., and sometimes because I was more just on fire. But after I've done like a few rounds of culling, typically once I've removed myself and I look at the work, I'm really happy with it. But sometimes you have to edit out the ones you're not happy with before you can see how beautiful the ones you kept are. All right, thank you guys for watching. If you want more help from me and you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon page. You can just support, or you can unlock bonus content. You can get portfolio reviews, job reviews, business coaching, SEO coaching, whatever you need help with, I'm there for you. Thank you for watching.